Hey, how's it going? Welcome to week 7, day 30. Today is September 21. Yeah, I'm gonna continue with literal equations. So, today for the do now, um, we started off by solving for the variable x for the literal equation and find any extraneous solutions, okay? It's important that we specify what variable we're looking for here because we have more than one variable. Remember, a literal equation is an equation that has more than two variables. And in this example, you'll see that we have an x, a k, and a y. All right. So what we're going to be doing here is finding the variable x. So let's go ahead and write this out. So we have the equation 3 plus 5x minus kx equals y. Awesome. Do you guys hear that? So we're going to be isolating x here. And basically, we want to move everything that doesn't have an x to the other side of the equation, okay? So what do we notice? We see that we have a 3 over here, and we could easily just move this over to the other side of the equation. So if we do that, what we're doing is subtracting 3 on both sides of the equation. The 3 minus 3 is 0, okay? And then we're left with, on the left side, 5x minus kx equals y minus 3. Can't forget about this 3, okay? So it's just y minus 3. And then we notice that both of these terms here, the 5 has an x, as well as the minus kx over here. So remember what we did yesterday? We learned or we're practicing factoring. So we want to look at something that the expression or the terms have in common. So that way we can extract it and manipulate it in a way so that we solve for our variable. So let's go ahead and take out this x. Let's factor out this x. So if I take out an x, what I'm left with the rest of the equation is 5 minus k. And this makes sense because if I distribute this x back into 5 minus k, I'm going to get x times 5, which is 5x, and then x times a minus k, which is minus kx. So these are the exact same things, this right here and this right here, okay? Equals y minus 3. My last step here would be to divide everything by 5 minus k, because this is x multiplied by 5 minus k. The inverse of multiplication is division. So we just divide both sides by 5 minus k. And so for your equation for x, you should get x equals y minus 3 all over 5 minus k. All right, so that's what you should get for the do now. But because we have a fraction over here, we want to find any extraneous solution. So remember, an extraneous solution is a solution which kind of puts this equation or the solving for the variable at risk of an undefining answer, okay? So remember, whenever we have a fraction or if we're dividing, we can't divide by the number 0 because we're going to have an undefined answer. So you have to think to yourself, oh, if I have a 0 in the denominator, then that's bad for us. So we just want to solve for what can k equal, so that way we don't get 0, okay? So k, in this case, should not equal 5 because we don't want 0 in the denominator. So the way to find that is that you set 5 minus k equal to 0. You solve for k. We know that, and then we find out that k should not equal 5, so that way we don't have a 0 down here to get an undefined answer. So on a test or an exam, I want you to give me the variable and any possible extraneous solution. All right, so that was that. And then we went over some homework questions from yesterday's homework, which was 1.5 literal equations. So if you have any questions on that, ask me during class. And then we worked on this problem right here. So this says the formula for the surface area S, which is surface area, of a rectangular prism is this equation right here. So what this reads as is the surface area of a rectangular prism equals 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. And then our goal here is to find an equation where we have L, which is the length on one side of the equation. All right. If we want to dissect this, we totally could. So 2LW just means 2 times length times width. So we have our length here, and then we have our width here. To find the area, you just have to do multiplication, so length times width. And the reason why there's a 2 is because there's a length times width down here at the bottom, as well as the top. All right, so that's 2. Length times height, same thing here. We have this front of the box or this rectangular prism as the length, and then the height is up and down. We have this front piece and then the back piece. And then lastly, we just add that to 2 times width times height. We have our width and then our height, and it's both of the side pieces, all right? All in total, if you add it, you get the surface area. So let's go ahead and find L in here. So we're manipulating the equation in a way where we solve for L on one side of the equation. So our equation was S, the surface area, equals 2 times the length times width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the length, not the length, 2 times the width times the height, all right? So all 6 sides. Our first step here, well, you could do this a many of ways, but we want to do the way that's most efficient and has the less steps possible. We want to see how we want to isolate L, and we notice that we have an L here and we have an L here. But this over here, we don't have an L, so maybe we could just move this to the other side of the equation since we want to isolate L. So what we would do as our first step would be to subtract 2WH on both sides. And so we're left with, on this left side, we have S, I'll use a different color. S equals 2 times L times W plus, disregard that. S minus, so we just can't forget that. Whoopsies, my bad. S minus 2WH equals 2LW plus 2LH. Remember, this becomes 0, so we do nothing with this. But over here, it's just S minus 2WH. Our next step here would be to factor out an L because we want to isolate L, right? So if we factor out the L, it's always good to do step by step so you don't mess up like me. See, even I make mistakes. Ha ha ha, we're not perfect. So L, we factor out the L, and we're left with 2W plus 2H, right? Because we took out an L from both of these. So if we take it out, we're just left with 2W, right here, see 2W, plus 2H, because we took out the L. And then the last thing we would do here to isolate L would be to divide both sides by 2W plus 2H. Because this reads as L multiplied by 2W plus 2H. The opposite or the inverse of multiplication is division. So that's why we're dividing both sides by this expression, 2W plus 2H. So the 2W plus 2H over 2W plus 2H equal 1. So we just leave that alone. So we're left with L equals S minus 2WH over 2W plus 2H. Shout out to my second period because we didn't complete this because of lack of time, and that's totally my fault. But for my other classes, I think we all did this. So this is what you should get. And because we're working with a fraction, remember there is a possibility for an extraneous solution. So we just have to make sure that 2W plus 2H does not equal 0. All right? So that is your extraneous solution, your XSOL. Is not the official abbreviation, but that's what we're going to be doing. That's pretty much what we did today. And then you have your homework assignment also, which is just the literal equations, the remix. And then we'll go over questions on that tomorrow. So good luck with the homework. This is definitely something important that we should know. So make sure that you are familiar with this. And let me know if you have any questions. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.